Nation to help keep quality conservative talk radio alive and thriving on the internet. Visit gofundme.com/helpupgradeftr today. Thank you.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
You're listening to Saturday Night Cigar Lounge with Taylor, right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
And this is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I'm your host, Taylor Millard. Thank you very much for listening in. Boston Randy in the chat room. You talked hockey and no mention of the 11-0 Panagagan set. Yeah, you would think I'd know how to pronounce that. Chiefs. Well, there you go. I just mentioned that the chiefdoms from Panagasanet are 11-0. There you go. Be happy. Be happy, Brian. Randy. Be happy, Randy. Hope Brian's happy, too. He's in the chat room as well. I do know this. You know, there was a conversation that was a comment that was made. The 1,000 to 2,000 fans who show up to Arizona Coyotes games. If you want to know how bad it is there, I went to a Stars game there. I only went to 2 Stars games. 3 Stars games, actually, when I was in Phoenix. And I almost got killed each time. But one of the times I was there, I was able to get a Go Stars Go. Or no, a Let's Go Stars chant started. A Let Go Stars in the Phoenix Arena. Something's wrong there. Just wanting to point that out. So, that's for those who don't care about hockey. I'm done talking about hockey. We'll get back to politics. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Before we went on the air, I happened to see a column over at Fox News, which was written by Richard Grinnell, he was formerly in the Bush administration. He did some stuff for Romney as well. He's a fellow with the Project to Restore America. He also served as the spokesperson for John Negroponte, John Danforth, John Bolton, and Zalmay Khalilzad, who were 4 U.S. ambassadors to the UN. You can also find him at richardgrinnell.com. Rick's a good guy. I actually talked to him once when I guested for Alan Bordius on Their Finest Hour. And he made a really good point by saying that the GOP desperately needs a Glozell moment. And what he said is that the Republicans who were mocking President Obama's interview with the YouTube internet stars are making a serious mistake. And his point is that the Obama White House knows how to get the everyday person in the U.S. to kind of care about them, to follow them, to pay attention to them, and, you know, kind of like him personally. It's one of the reasons why I think his personal approval rate is you know, higher than Congress's. Now, when you talk about the policies, it's completely different, but personally, people like the president, or at least it seems like they do. And this is something that's really been debated by T-Cot and T-Lot on Twitter, you know, with various memes, that sort of thing. And I really do think that the president's interview with Glozell and the other YouTube stars was frustratingly genius. And the reason why I say frustratingly genius is that, well, it's genius in the fact that he actually went to the, if you want to say the low information voter, or the lowest common denominator, or just the people who don't care about politics, and they happen to, pay attention to what goes on, or they at least know who the president is, and they watch YouTube for something other than politics, and they watch YouTube or read the internet for something other than politics, and if they turn on TV, they're not watching Fox, MSNBC, CNN, even Jon Stewart. They're paying attention to what's on FX, what's on NBC, CBS, ESPN, etc. The president is reaching for them. And he's reaching out to them. And he's trying to get them to support his policies. So, when he says that, when the president says that he wants to give people free community college, they're the ones who are going to sit there and go, meaning the lowest common denominator folks are going to sit there and go, oh, hey, that sounds great. Now, Becca made a good point. Becca Lower in the chat room made a good point where she said there's a line, and it's a very fine line, between making fun of people and pointing out that people are aware that the president is avoiding real journalism outlets and interviews. Well, yeah, and that's absolutely right. But, as Felicia Cravens just pointed out, more people are kind of mad at the fact that Glozell was the one who got the interview, or they're making fun of the fact that Glozell got the interview, including our own Alan Bordius, who had a very funny meme that he put out. But they're not pointing out the fact that Obama isn't taking questions from the media. And yes, the media has been very protective of the president. If you look at some of the stuff that people or that journalists asks or don't ask, you're going to get that. You're going to get some protection. Not everybody is going to be Jake Tapper. So, and Roman Flute in the chat room actually just made a very good point, another very good point. I'm just going to defer to them on this. He made the point that Obama is marketed like a product. And I'm reading what he's saying here in the chat room. And he also said that he's the first candidate to ever have a logo and the thought process to design and build that is interesting. And you know something? There's a reason why the millennials, there's a reason why the younger voters, the people my age and younger, went for him. It's messaging. You can tell the electorate to, as Titan in the chat room said, put on its big boy pants, and how that's not a vice. But there's a way to do it without beating them over the head. And I think that's the problem that folks on the right, whether you're a conservative, whether you're a libertarian, it's messaging that's the issue. You know, there is the quote by Andrew Breitbart, if you can't sell freedom and liberty, you're not doing a good job. And I butchered the quote, I know. Good night, Pope Sparkles. I know I butchered the quote. But it is all about messaging. And it is all about discussing why freedom and liberty is so important. But if you're going to do that, you can't just yell at them, yay, freedom and liberty. Yay, Constitution. Yay, Bill of Rights. No. You got to sit there and you got to explain stuff to them. And tell you what, for those who are paying attention and want to weigh in on this, you can call me at 214-646-1604. That's 214-646-1604 if you want to weigh in on this topic, the communication issue, the question as to whether or not the GOP or certain members of T-Cot and T-Lot are making a mistake in criticizing the fact that Obama was interviewed by Glozell. And I think it also boils down to the fact when you look at this sort of situation. I talked about this a little bit last week. Was because I was talking to Josh Perry from Ted Cruz's camp about this. And Josh Perry said that there's nothing wrong with using Taylor Swift as a meme. Because the Democrats did that last week in response to something John Boehner said. And the younger generation, they're going to understand that. They're going to get that. Unfortunately, you have to sell your ideas. And it's not easy to sell your ideas, but you can sell them. And to kind of bring back to the conversation that I had with Matt Lewis, is there has to be a way for the intellectuals and the people on the front lines, there has to be a way for them to get together and discuss and plan stuff and message. Bristol in the chat room just said that Republicans are the king of the radio, yet they still have a marketing problem. And then he also pointed out that it's probably because young people don't have a good image of people like Rush Limbaugh. And then Boston Randy chimed in saying that he doesn't have a good image of Rush Limbaugh. And you know something? Yeah. I don't have a good image of Rush Limbaugh because he will say stupid things. He will say things just to say things. And he may be correct in what he's saying, but the terms that he uses